And you see in the background and some in the foreground, the weeds are starting to get high. And that also causes another rodent infestation.
All right, okay.
So as we move to the next slide, this is over, I believe it's on North June Avenue, Wynn Avenue area. You'll see the inoperable vehicles there. And then you also see the high grass. The city ordinance says if their grass gets more than 10 inches, it's in violation of the city ordinance, and you can therefore receive a fine. And so also with this high grass, again, along with the inoperable vehicles that's been parked there sometime, it will cause a rodent infestation. This is another example of a inoperable vehicle. You can see the pine straw sitting there on top of the windshield wipers and on top of the roof. That vehicle's been sitting there for some time, so you know it's really blackening to the city as you come through, and we want the guests as well as our citizens to have the best aesthetics that they can have.
Right, and I think this one is actually off of Walker Street.
This is the corner of Walker Street and Gaskin Avenue.
Yeah.
We went out on Thursday evening doing Operation Quality Life. The trash pickup for the area that we went into, and which is pictured here, was on Monday. So here this trash can's sitting out 3 days, 2 to 3 days after it should have been removed back off the roadway. Again, we have passed an ordinance where you can actually be fined if you do not remove your trash can off the roadway.
Wow.
This house used to be a decent looking house.
Wow.
This is over off, correct, this is over off East Jackson Street. You see the overgrowth trees, they actually started to grow wild in the yard. We had actually caught someone taking the front door off of this residence. Had a nice front door, but nobody could hardly see them or see the front door, so a offender took the time to take advantage of that and go up there and take the front door, which led to kids going inside, and there was some vandalism that happened, and also the wires have been stripped out of the house. So here's another view of it at the side. You can also see where the recliners have been pulled out in the yard. Then the accumulation of junk that's sitting off of the backside of the picture up in our little makeshift shelter.
And you know, one of the things that we are concerned about, as Rodger kind of shows us, this is a prime opportunity of a piece of property for a meth house or a crack house or something to that effect, where you know nobody can see in it, nobody can knows what's going on, and this is right in neighborhoods in our community. So this is one of the reasons why we're trying to get tough on these types of things. So.
You got children that's always playing
exactly
in the yard across from this residence.
Exactly.
Okay, what we're looking at here, this is across the street basically from Eastside Park. You'll see the contaminated leaf and limb pile. It looks like you got cardboard and some construction debris, and also there's a plastic bag sitting in there. And so the citizens need to know if their leaf and limb pile has other contaminants, glass, wire, you know, boards, or other construction equipment. The city will not pick it up until that the leaf and limb pile is cleaned. And again, with the new sanitation ordinance, you can be fined for contaminating your leaf and limb pile.
Right. And let me say this before you move off that, because I don't even understand if people understand what happens in regards to picking up leaf and limb. We actually take your leaf and limb from the city and we take it out to our compost mulch site, and we grind those items up. If metals and all that other stuff are in the leaf and limb, that tears up that grinder. So hence is the reason why we don't allow all these other types of materials in there, because you know we pay a certain amount of money to have those grinded, and then eventually we put that in a compost. But thus is the reason why we can't have those items in there as well.
Correct. Well, with the cardboard that you see here, you know, it would take nearly no effort to bring it behind City Hall and place it in our recycle bin that we have.
Right.
You know, place for the citizens behind City Hall.
Right.
So.
Right. And we might want to mention too that each month we have a area that citizens of the city of Douglas can bring any items excluding hazardous material or tires to a site. So if they have construction debris or whatever, if they're doing some renovations or whatever, they're more than welcome to bring it to that. Trans Waste will haul that off. Look for a location near you. I think we try to hit them in at least 3 or 4 different areas in our city. So we hopefully a location that's close to you. So,
and if they load it up and bring it to us, we'll actually unload it for them.
Yeah, there'll be somebody working that day on that Saturday. I believe they do it from 8 to 12.
8 to 12, correct.
Right.
Okay. Here's, you know, on the side of the road and the right-of-way, you see construction material. You got the boards, and it looks like you got a 8x8 post sitting there. And the city, Norwell Solid Waste, picked this up. This is some of the items that you can bring to the drop-off sites when we have them. And I believe we posted on the website when we do have them. And I believe it's the second weekend.
Yeah, normally the second weekend of each month.
Correct. So, but you know, with this being sitting beside the road on the city right-of-way, you can also receive a fine for it. You'll hear me speaking of fines. It's not that we want to fine you and get in your pocketbook. We'd rather have compliance. But if it comes down to it, we have to do what we have to do.
Right.
Here's Randall Parker. This was up on, I believe, North Pearl Avenue, and the gentleman had multiple inoperable vehicles in his yard.
Not Randall Parker. He works for us.
No, Randall's there just holding up a card, which it's hard to tell in the picture. It has a case number where we identify the picture along with the case that was made.
Right.
And so after we spoke to the gentleman about the inoperable vehicles, he did remove them.
Right.
So they are gone now.
And he didn't have to get a fine or get something?
No, he, you know, voluntarily complied. This here is a great picture to show and demonstrate overgrowth of grass. This is up at North Pearl Avenue and Alonza Street. If you notice, if you look closely to the door of the house, there's no doorknob.
Wow.
You know, people can easily go in there. You can have squatters to set up house, you know, set up their meth house. And, you know, at one time this residence was secure, but it's no longer secure. And it's a sad situation to see the property to be demised like it has.
Well, definitely, obviously, you know, we see stuff like this, and citizens sometimes in their neighborhoods don't want to say anything to adjacent property owner because of a fear of intimidation or retaliation. And you know, obviously that's why we're trying to go out to remove that concern from them having to do that. But if they do see something, we want them to say something. They can call us anonymously and let us know what's going on in their neighborhoods, either code enforcement for code enforcement things, or police department for criminal activities that they might see. So definitely we want people to be mindful of their neighborhoods and make sure that they keep them safe and clean and hopefully looking nice. So what is this picture of, Don?
This here is of a dog that's in a fence, which the fenced in area seems to be proper, but it's inadequate shelter. There's nowhere for the dog to get in out of the inclement weather conditions. And we actually had to take this dog in custody. and took it to the Humane Society.
And I know we got a little time before the break. I know the break's coming up in just a minute, but I want to say this while we got our Humane Society does a great job of sheltering and hopefully trying to adopt out pets, which I know a lot of people say, well, they got very stringent adoption procedure. Well, this is the reason why of it, because not everybody takes care of their pets at the level that they need to. So what happens is the adoption process doesn't want to put a pet right back into the same conditions that they came out of. I know I grew up thinking, well, just keep dogs outside, don't have to worry about them, but there's a level of care that you need to have with animals and pets, and obviously not everybody shares that same focus. So, obviously we're doing what we can do, the Humane Society is doing what they're needing to do, but all of us got to be accountable for what we're dealing with our pets. This is a critical point of that. So we're going to take a break, and we're going to be talking with Rodger more and showing you some more pictures about what we saw on Operation Quality of Life, which was April the 24th, and we'll hope to see you down the road in another operation here soon. So we'll be right back.
WDTV 13. Programming is sponsored by McCrary Daniels Insurance Agency, Joe's Check Cashing,
Roscoe Allen Jr. and Lucas Modular Buildings in Ocilla, Florida. We proudly support local programming on WDTV 13.
If you want your pizza fixed just right, chances are you'll go to Danny's. If you're celebrating a birthday, Holtz is probably fixing the cake you'll put the candles on. And if your wedding ring needs an adjustment, you'll find yourself at Crawford Jewelers. But if it's you who needs fixing, it should definitely happen here. Coffee Regional Medical Center in Douglas, Georgia. We fix things better here.
We're back with more Douglas on My Mind, and Rodger Goddard's here from our Code Enforcement Division, and he's been talking with us about Operation Quality of Life, and we've been running through some pictures. And as I stated before the break, we're probably going to do another operation probably in May, if not by June, to look at another area. I think we're going to be looking at beat zone 3 and 4.
No,
yeah.
3 and 1.
3 and 1, yeah, because most of one beat zone 3, is it?
Correct.
Has mostly commercial property,
Correct.
which we don't probably have as much problem as we do with residential property. But anyway, we'll be undertaking that, and we'll be getting out. So be on the watch for us, and we'll be coming to you soon. All right. What is? We were just watching this picture about the dog. If you want to go ahead and anything else.
This was a dog with an inadequate shelter. As you notice, he has water there. The water pail is dark and full of algae on the bottom. So there's nothing there for food for the dog. Here's another view. I didn't add the view to there's a bag of dog food that's sitting in front of the cage. I did not add the picture, which I should have. The dog food was just full of mold inside of it. Would not have been edible for the dog. So, and you see he's very shy and timid. Here's another situation where we have you have 2 bulldogs, and they're tethered to a log chain, and inside what appears to be a pen, but it's not a completed pen. Just off screen to the right hand side of the screen there's no panel, and if the dogs wasn't chained they could just easily walk out. Problems that we have with dogs being tethered is they injure themselves, or they get entangled with each other where they cannot get to their food and they cannot get to the water. And I got a prime example of that coming up. Okay, this is a vehicle that was inoperable vehicle. It was Bayou-side Park. As you see, it's parked on the right-of-way. The two driver-sized tires had gone flat, and it had been parked there, and we had